Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Weddings Done Right Radio, the how to for the I do. My name is Jodi Harris, and I am the president of the Las Vegas Wedding Chamber of Commerce. So nice to have you here. I'm also the owner and CEO of fun at Sight and Sound Events. And today I am super excited to have with us, we're going to be talking about wedding venues, wedding receptions, and touch a little bit on the ceremony as well. And with me as my special guest today is a longtime friend and colleague. Her name is Cynthia, and she is at the Wildhorse Golf Club, which is located in Henderson, Green Valley, is what they call the Henderson area. So a big welcome to Cynthia, who handles all the private events at the Wildhorse Golf Club. Cynthia, you made it. You're here. Weddings Done Right Radio.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Nice to see you. So let's kind of kick things off with a little intro, a little background about you and your experience and how long you've been doing this. And yeah.
Well, I've been in the wedding industry here in Las Vegas for 20 years now, most of which you've known me for.
Yeah, we have.
I started out as a wedding photographer and videographer. I was at Caesar's Palace for 7 years. I then launched my own photography and videography company in 2004. When photo went digital, I switched over to planning, and I have been doing that ever since. And now I'm currently the director of weddings and special events at the historic Wildhorse in Henderson, Nevada.
That's awesome. And you're a hustler, girl. You're out there. You've got tons of experience. It's so nice because what's nice about it is that you've experienced both sides. You know, you've had that vendor experience, and now, and as a vendor, you worked with, with caterers, and now here you are. So that knowledge is great.
Yeah, it makes my job a lot easier. And makes working with the other vendors a lot easier too, because I know exactly where they're coming from coming into a venue. Each venue has different rules, etc. So, and I love working with my vendors.
Absolutely. Well, cool. So let's talk about Wildhorse. So tell us about your facility and what it is that you guys do.
Well, Wildhorse Golf Club has been in the area since 1969. We just celebrated our 60th anniversary last year. So very, very tied to the community. We do all sorts of events here, from weddings to weekly and bi-monthly meetings, obviously golf tournaments. We're also one of the few courses in Vegas that has a disc golf course. We actually have 26 holes, and we host the Las Vegas Disc Golf Challenge every year in February.
Very cool. And tell us a little bit about your banquet space specifically for weddings, and ceremony space too, because they usually do both.
Correct. We actually have 3 different ceremony sites to choose from. All of those sites can seat up to 150 people, if not more. Some of the sites more. Our ballroom seats 200 people with a built-in dance floor. We also have a bar and grill right across the hallway from the ballroom, which seats another 76 people. So we can have pretty large events here.
That's awesome. And what's nice about your place is that it's private. So
it is very private.
When I say private, tell everybody what I mean by private.
There's no other event going on here when your event is going on, especially if it's a wedding. We will do 2 weddings in a day, but we have a daytime slot and an evening slot. So the brides never cross paths.
Nice. And how does that kind of work? Like when you say daytime spot and evening spot, like, is there a time frame? Like, how does that kind of work?
Yes, there is. So our packages, including the ceremony, are 4.5 hours. So for the daytime slot, the ceremony would start at 11 a.m. The entire event would be over at 3:30. And then the next event would start no earlier than 5 o'clock for the ceremony.
So there's plenty of time to turn that room over, nice enough time for the staff to get a little break,
and flip the room. Exactly. And another plus to us being private is that on the evening events, we can go as late as we want. So if we have a group that wants to come in and be here till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, that's something we can absolutely accommodate.
Nice. I've noticed at your facility there isn't a lot of like homes, so which is nice. Like there's no private residence. Like some of the golf clubs, we've been to here in Las Vegas is we
Right.
see a lot of private homes. You guys, like, there's just lots of land.
As a matter of fact, the golf course was here long before those homes were built, which is one of the reasons why it's different so the homes aren't actually on the course like in other golf courses. They were actually built around the course years later after the course itself was built.
Wow. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. And aren't you guys also like some sort of wildlife like sanctuary
Yes, we are an Audubon certified bird sanctuary. We have a bird count every month.
Wow. Wow. It's got to make for some pretty interesting photos too. I mean,
That is true. There's a lot of geese around, so you can get geese in your pictures, and we have all different kinds of birds out here. And one of the other things too is that our water features are natural. It's the natural warm springs, which is why the road out front is called Warm Springs Road, is because of the natural springs that we have on property.
Oh, wow. I never knew that. Very cool. That's awesome. Very, very cool. So let's kind of talk about like the weddings and how soon should somebody look to book out with you guys? How early?
It really depends on the month that they're looking at. So if you're looking at those real popular months like April, May, or September, October, as soon as possible. The other months that aren't so popular, I've booked weddings 2 weeks out and planned them.
Why do you think the most popular months are the months that you said? You said April, May, right?
It's the weather. Hands down the weather.
Hands down the weather.
Mm-hmm.
It is a busy time of the year. So, and how soon could somebody book out? Like, are you, obviously we're in 2020 now, obviously 2021. I mean, are you seeing people booking for 2022 yet?
I'm not only seeing 2022, but 23 and 24.
Wow. That's fantastic. That is super cool. And, tell me a little bit about, the ceremony sites. So you said you have 3. Did I hear right that you said you have 3 different locations that people
Correct.
can choose from? Okay.
Yes. So we have a courtyard, which is not on the golf course. That's our most private spot. It's actually just off the parking lot and our roundabout, which makes it really nice if the bride wants to make a limousine entrance. The limousine can pull right up to the aisle that she's going to walk down. The other 2 sites are actually on the course. Both of them have a water feature in the background. Our wedding lawn can seat up to 500 people.
Wow.
And then our most popular site, which is the shade tree, obviously because there's shade, we can seat up to 300 out there. And that one is the one that is closest to our main water feature. So you have just more of that water feature in the background than with the wedding lawn.
Awesome. And what do you do about sound out there? What is it? Do people usually go with a live element? I mean, do you recommend anything specifically that has worked well for you guys?
We actually have outlets at all 3 sites. So most commonly, our packages include a DJ that takes care of the ceremony music and the reception. So our DJ just brings out speakers, equipment, microphones, and plugs it in. We also have in-house AV. So if I'm working with a bride on a smaller budget, I have speakers and microphones myself that I can take out there. But all of the sites have access to electricity.
Got it. Do you prefer, I mean, again, it's not your day, but if you had to make a choice, a recommendation to a client, do you prefer that they go live, or do you think they, or go with a DJ? If you had your own personal preference, I would think live, right? Would look nice.
Yeah, live looks beautiful. The music is beautiful. I think it almost makes it a little bit more intimate too when you've got live music versus playing a track. But here, and I've always been this way, for me, the palette is the bride's, not mine. So whatever it is that the bride wants, that's what we're going to do.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's whatever they want. But I'm too. I'm kind of like you. I leaned more toward the live entertainment only because I think, it's kind of cool that when you could extend that live entertainment for another extra hour for cocktail hour, and then, do a reveal, like open the ballroom doors, and then there's the DJ ready to go, and they don't see the same person twice. So,
correct.
If anybody's listening, obviously, that's my choice. But again, it's always about our clients and whatever they want to do. And I want them to get some really cool takeaways and ideas, from us. So, so with your 3 venues that you do ceremonies for outside, what do you do about weather? Have you ever had a weather issue, and what do you recommend for weather?
We do, and our ballroom is large enough that we can split the ballroom and do a ceremony on one side of the ballroom. And then what we'll do is we'll take the group over to the bar and grill for cocktails while we take a few minutes to pull the tables back to where the ceremony took place so that we can use the ballroom for the reception.
So that's nice that they have that option. And I think that's super critical in wherever, our couples decide to go, that they know what everybody should have a backup plan.
Right. And that decision is always left to my brides. I've had brides that, the winds were high, that kind of thing, and they were still bound and determined to have their ceremony outside. So we did it outside. They want to bring it inside, we do.
Yeah, well, it's beautiful. I mean, that's such a great feature of your place. And we're so lucky that, you mentioned weather. I mean, we're lucky here in Las Vegas and Henderson that, we only get like 10 days of rain a year, if that. So if anything, we maybe battle with a little bit of wind. And it's always funny, Cynthia, I think the wedding gods always come down. Like, it could be windy, right? Like, that we're like, oh God, I hope. And then all of a sudden we start that ceremony and the wind
for the 15 minutes, right? Yeah. For the 15 minutes. Because as soon as photo starts, the winds are back up.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So you talked about the packages are like a 4.5 hour package with your company, with Wildhorse. So how early can somebody take possession of Wildhorse? I know like your ceremony might start at 6 and it'll be over by 10:30. But how early can somebody take possession of the club that day?
Our brides are able to come in 90 minutes before the ceremony. We have a bridal suite for them to get ready before the ceremony. And then in regards to like coming in, if they want to bring in their own decor, I just scheduled that with them. I've had brides that if I didn't have a wedding earlier in the day, they came in at 10 o'clock in the morning and did their decor, and the ceremony wasn't until 6 o'clock that night. So whatever our schedule will allow, we do whatever we can to make it as easy as possible on the bride. Oftentimes too, if the decor the bride wants to bring in are like centerpieces or favors, those kind of things, I just have her bring them to me at the rehearsal. My staff puts those out for them, so they're not having to worry about that the day of the ceremony.
And that's what I was going to ask you in regards to that, because so many, people might, when they find out that you're a planner, they might not know how much of a planner you are. Like, sometimes, there are planners that work with their couples from the day they sign the contract. There are planners that are month of wedding planners. So basically kind of explain, when they're in your house, the rules pretty much are you're the one who does everything for them, right?
I hold their hand through every single step of the process from the moment they sign the contract until after the ceremony and reception. So I will even do follow up with vendors, that kind of thing, to make sure like they get their pictures or they get their video.
That's awesome. So there's really no need to hire an outside planner unless they just need way more hand holding than what you could do.
Usually the brides that I've worked with that have actually brought in a coordinator also had other events going on before the ceremony at other places. And that's what that coordinator was there for. And then once that coordinator gets here, I leave it up to the bride as to whether she wants me to step back and let that coordinator take over the rest of the event here, whether she wants us to work together or whether that coordinator is just an extra hand for me.
Yeah. It's always nice. I'm sure it's always nice to have them be an extra hand for you. It's always nice.
Oh, sure.
Set of hands for sure. Definitely. Talk to me a little about, so you were talking about the decor. If they want to like rearrange stuff, are you pretty much giving them an open palette? Like, is your ballroom an open palette and like, hey girl, you can do whatever you want, but here's what I recommend. We put our bar here and I need this area for this.
Exactly. That's exactly how we do it. And we also provide all of the tables, chairs, their linens. They get to choose their choice of colors. I have standard centerpieces, and I have a lot of decor like leftover from past weddings. So if I'm working with a bride and her theme fits with anything that I have in-house, I make sure she knows, hey, I have this extra burlap, or I have these purple flowers that might work, and let them use that. We also have in-house AV. So projectors, TV screens, speakers, microphones, those kind of thing. If they need to use those for their event, they are more than welcome to at no additional charge.
Oh, and that's all included, you said, right?
Yes.
That's all included. Oh, that's great. So if they want to show a slideshow of them, a montage or whatever, or they have a graphic, maybe they can't afford a gobo or a monogram, and they just want to create a slide. That's great.
And with our floor to ceiling windows, I've actually had brides bring in those clings that have their initials on them, so they're able to put them on the windows and they look really cool.
Oh, that's very cool. I never thought about that. Yeah, those window clings would look really, really awesome. Yeah, that's a great takeaway. That's really cool. What about signage for the guests? Like the guests pull up at Wildhorse, they don't know where to go. How do you maneuver everybody?
Well, when you get here, it's pretty obvious where the clubhouse is and where the front doors are. But once they walk into the front doors, we do have a TV monitor that we put a picture of the bride and groom on, along with their names and, congratulations, that kind of thing. So the guests know that they're in the right place. And then also upstairs where the ballroom is, outside the ballroom, we have another TV monitor where, again, we'll have their picture and names on it. So the guests know that they are at the right wedding.
Yep. Very important. And do you do anything or offer, or do you recommend, if it's a hot day, do your couples usually get bottled water? Is there an umbrella for grandma? What's it like when it's cold?
When it's hot outside, I keep all of the guests up in the bar and grill till about 5 minutes before the ceremony is going to start. And then I take them outside to the ceremony site. We do also set up water on those sites, and it's just kind of a serve yourself type water. If the bride wants to have it fruit infused, like with lemon slices or orange slices, we can do that too. Our bar and grill is also open until the ceremony starts, so guests can go in there and get a drink or a cocktail if they want to, and even bring it out to the ceremony site.
Got it. But the package wouldn't start that early, right? The couple's package wouldn't start that early. That would be actually them just buying a drink.
Correct. Yes.
That's great. That's awesome.
And because our package includes a full bar, once the ceremony starts, our bar and grill is shut and closed for the rest of the evening, so that we don't run into any guests purchasing drinks when they could have not purchased one in the ballroom.
Got it. Talk to me a little bit about your preferred vendor list, and what do you tell them? Like, what do they have to use with you, or do they have to use your preferred vendors? Let's start this way. You have a preferred vendor list. Do they have to go with your preferred vendors? No,
they don't. As a matter of fact, with my packages, those vendors are included in the package. However, if they have their own minister or their own DJ or their own photographer, I deduct an amount out of the package because they're going to be providing their own. The only vendors that are not included in our package are the wedding cake. So I'm always referring to bakeries. And also if they want video taken of like the ceremony or reception, we don't include that. So I'll refer them to videographers.
Oh, that's great. And how do you, is there a process that and I know you've been in the business like me a long time, so I know you know a lot of people, but is there a process as to how you vet the vendors that you're actually referring out?
Well, pretty much I've like you said, I've been in the industry long enough. I pretty much know everybody. Oftentimes, the way I vet vendors is when my bride does bring in their own vendor, it's almost like an interview for me with this vendor. Rolling in the dough is how I met them. Another bride brought them in. They did an amazing job, and I've been referring them ever since. So oftentimes that's how I meet the newer vendors, is because a bride has brought them in on her own.
No, that's awesome. And of course the Wedding Chamber of Commerce, a great association that we're both members of, definitely another valuable resource for our couples that are watching us, which is great. Talk to me about do you have a hotel partner? How do you recommend, because you guys are not on the Strip, but you're very close. How far away are you from if people are staying on the Strip, how far away are you from?
Depending on where on the Strip they are, it's about 12 to 18 miles. But that really depends on whether they're downtown or they're at Mandalay Bay, because Mandalay Bay is closer to us.
Right. Absolutely. No, that's great. And then hotel partners?
Mostly we work with Sunset Station. So if a bride books here, I can refer her there and she can get a discounted rate on a block of rooms for her guests.
Awesome.
Sunset Station is really the closest one to us. The next closest is Green Valley Ranch.
Yep. Yeah. And again, that's what's nice. I mean, and it's nice. I mean, there's a benefit of being away from all that noise. I mean, you guys are so private.
This is true. This is very true. There, like I said earlier, a bride that gets married here is not going to cross paths with another bride, which happens all the time with the Strip venues. That, walking through the casino, you could walk past 4 or 5 brides in an hour.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I do notice that your venue is very handicap accessible for people, which is also important when you look for a spot. Tell us what you have there that makes it handicap accessible.
Well, we do have ramps where needed. The biggest thing, though, is we do have an elevator that goes to the 2nd floor for the ballroom.
Yep. And that's so nice. That is so nice because so many places don't have that. Let's talk a little bit about food. We haven't touched about your food. Kind of explain, is it sit down style, buffet style, help yourself to dessert? Kind of walk us through how your food works.
It really depends on the event. Now, for our wedding packages, it's a 2 entree buffet. So that's included in the package. They get their choice of a chicken entree and a beef entree. They get to choose their sides. It includes salad, rolls, those kind of things. We can do a plated service. There is an upcharge to do a plated service, but it was really up to the couple as to what they want to do. We've also done cocktail receptions that are appetizers only, that are all butler passed.
Very nice. That's super cool. That's super cool. And there we go. Get us back online here. I want to go through some photos real quick with you. So I pulled up your website and I wanted to show you, wanted to have you maybe just explain a little bit about some of the photos that we're seeing. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay, cool. Let's do this. So right now we're looking at a picture of the couple, and that I'm assuming that's in the foyer. That when you were talking about that a little earlier, right?
Yes, that is correct. Actually, that is a picture that the couple brought in and we put on one of our easels. So that's not on the TV monitor.
Got it. Yep. Just a setting, right?
Yes, that's the ballroom setup with a fairly large head table.
And what am I looking at? I know what I'm looking at, but the guests might not know. The people watching, what am I looking at straight ahead? I see glass.
Oh, the windows. Are you talking about the windows that are behind the head table?
Well, your patio. I love your patio.
Yes,
I've always told you I love the outdoor patio that you have on that level too. I think it's super cool. So
It's a
she's,
great patio, a lot of space. We have the bistro lighting up.
yep. Again, ballroom. And I'm pulling these from the website. So real pretty flowers. Do you recommend a floral? Is floral included in that? I didn't catch if floral was included.
Fresh floral is not included in our packages. We do have candlelit centerpieces though. So oftentimes my brides are only really getting their bouquets, boutonnieres, corsages because we've got the centerpieces. But I do refer to florists if they're looking to do floral centerpieces also.
You just reminded me when we were talking about that earlier. You reminded me that you are a venue that will allow an actual flame. Am I right on that?
All of my centerpieces are live flame, and we do allow live flame centerpieces. We do celebrations of life here, so we are able to do candlelit vigils, those kind of things. Sparklers for your exit after your ceremony.
You have a beautiful driveway for that. Absolutely. A beautiful driveway for that. There you go. That's pretty right there.
That's the clubhouse in the background.
Yep, that is. Yep. Candy station. Are you seeing any cool trends? I mean, is there anything trend-wise that some of your couples are now doing that you want to share with people? Anything really cool that you've seen?
Lately, no. It's pretty much been the standard.
Let's take up the last 3 months, okay?
Really, the most popular things that I'm seeing are the candy bars, the candy stations. Those are super popular. The photo booths are super popular too.
Yeah, photo booth. I don't think photo booths will ever go away. I think
Right. And occasionally we do get the surprise entertainer that comes in, like an impersonator, Sinatra, Elvis, those kind of things.
Yeah. Those are always are a lot of fun for people to do. Also, bar package. You want to talk real quickly about how does your bar package work?
With our wedding packages, it includes a full hosted well bar. So it's bottom shelf alcohols, but nobody pays for a drink. If the guests do want a higher end alcohol, they can pay for that. And it really depends on the bride. I've had brides that don't actually want to do a full hosted bar. So I take that out of their package, and then they decide to do a consumption bar where they're basically paying a tab at the end of the night, or that kind of thing. Or they'll put a certain amount of money on the bar, and then once that money runs out, we'll go to cash bar. We're also one of the few venues that will set up a cash bar for any event free of charge.
Nice. I never knew that they would even actually charge for that, but I'm learning this stuff. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, there are some venues that do charge a fee to set up a cash bar, and they're looking to cover their bartenders and stuff. Here, because we're a golf course that's open all day with a bar and grill, I already have bartenders on payroll, so I just schedule them. I don't have to call them in.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. What about we talked about the cake. They bring in their own wedding cake. Obviously, we talked about that. But some venues charge cake cutting fees.
We do not.
And what is a cake cutting fee? I mean, is it just what the name says, cake cutting fee?
That is exactly what it is. And I remember when they started doing cake cutting fees, it's been some years ago. And it's just, to me personally, it's just another way for the venue to get a couple extra dollars out of the bride and groom's pocket.
Wow.
Here at Wildhorse, we already have the staff there. The kitchen staff is already there. It takes no time really to take a cake out of a ballroom, cut it up into slices, bring it back out, and serve it to the guests. So we don't charge cake cutting fees. We do not charge corkage fees. We don't charge any of those fees.
That's awesome. You know how much money people are saving right there? Right. How much money they're saving. I mean, that's amazing.
And one of the other things that we've done is for our package pricing, even our menus, so no matter what kind of event you're doing, our gratuity and sales tax is already in the price. So if a bride is going to book my 100-person package, which is $9,500, they're paying $9,500. There is no plus on top of that. Those fees are already worked into the package itself.
That's great. So you're not like hitting them with a bill later on, because I hear that a lot. I hear that so much, that they only budgeted X amount of dollars, and then the day of the wedding comes and, hey, we need an extra this, so that's crazy. Crazy.
And like I said, all of our menus are like that. So even if you were planning a birthday party and you wanted to do the 2 entree buffet, it's $30 per person. That includes sales tax and gratuity. There is no plus.
That's awesome. Do you do a lot of destination events?
Actually, I do, mostly from California, are where my destination brides are coming from. I've also gotten quite a few like out of the UK and other countries. I'd say maybe 15% of my weddings are locals.
And of the people that are not locals and maybe they can't come in and see Wildhorse, I noticed that you offer some sort of virtual tour, which is really big, right? Right about right now.
Right. And we do that. We do that in a couple of different ways. In working with weddingwire.com, they videotaped a virtual tour for us, so I can send them a link. One of the ways I prefer to do it is I actually schedule a site tour with the bride, and then I have a tablet, and I get on Skype or on Facebook with them and actually walk them through the property with the pad, so I can answer their questions as they're touring the venue in real time.
I think that's the best way. I mean, so many of our couples nowadays, all they do is send an email, and you and I've privately talked about this. I am not a big fan of just sending out an email. It's okay to make an inquiry. Hey, Cynthia, saw you on Weddings Done Right. Thinking about having my wedding May 1st, 2021. What's your availability? I mean, I really honestly think, Cynthia, making a connection with especially your business, especially you being on here and hearing how different you are than anybody else, how passionate you are, how hands-on you are. I think it would be foolish for somebody not to, once they get like your basic information, not to set up a non-obligation. Obviously, there's no hard feelings, but a non-obligation virtual appointment with you.
Right. Well, and usually for me, when it comes to working a lead, yes, the first contact is a response email. They reached out to me requesting information. I email them back that information. And then within 24 hours of emailing that, I give them a call if I have a phone number, to get them on the phone and talk to them, answer any questions they may have in regards to my ability and my experience personally, along with what the venue has to offer.
Yep, absolutely. So important to all the couples that are watching. I mean, yeah, use that email, but also, reach out, make a connection, because these are the people that are going to be working with you on the most important day of your life. And Cynthia says, 4.5 hours you have a venue, but also you get there 90 minutes, prior to your start time. And you're also making a connection. You're making a friend. I mean, Cynthia has been in the business. I've been in the business for a long time. We are here. We know what's going on in Vegas. We can tell you. So it's really nice to make a friend, make your partner, because that's what we are. We're partners with these people. We're partners with you, and we just want you to have the best experience ever. So, and
I do the same thing with my vendors that are included in my package. So if a bride books here 30 days before her wedding, she's going to hear from the DJ, and the DJ is going to work directly with her. Same thing with the photographer and the minister. So they've also created a relationship with those vendors and are not just showing up to their event having not met those particular people that are included in the package.
Absolutely. So important. So important. What about tastings? We're going to wrap things up here in a minute, but I mean, obviously with a virtual couple, we can't virtually do a tasting. But for those, maybe your California clients that might be coming down for a few days, I mean, you having the bar and grill, that's definitely a plus, Yes.
And we do schedule tastings. If you're a booked bride and groom, the tasting is free. You can have up to 4 people at your tasting.
Nice. Very cool. And that's upon booking, of course. We're not going to give you a free tasting unless we have a, retainer down.
No. Right. And I have had groups that wanted to do a tasting before actually signing the contract. In that case, it's $25 per person that's going to attend the tasting.
Oh, okay. That's very cool. I didn't know you could do that. That's awesome. That's really cool. And as far as like just popping in on you, I mean, do you encourage like, hey, come on down, or do you encourage them trying to get in touch with you first? Because I mean, again, you're public, so anybody can come down.
Right. I prefer that they schedule an appointment so that I can make sure that they see everything they need to see in regards to the space and understand packages and stuff like that. But like you said, we are open 7 days a week because we are a golf course. The ballroom is never locked, so anybody can go up there and just open the door and look in the ballroom if they want to, or walk around the property. Nobody's going to stop them.
Do you keep the ballroom set up like it would be for a wedding or an event? Is there always linens on it? Are there your mock centerpieces on there at all times?
Because of the type of events that we have coming through here, we often are preset for our next event.
Okay.
So it's possible that a bride may come to look at the ballroom, but the ballroom at the time is set up for a networking event that's taking place the following day.
Sure.
But for the most part, yes, the room is set. It's just, like I said, usually preset for the next coming up event.
Got it. Perfect. Cool. And right now we're about to wrap it up. So I'm going to ask you what the question I ask everyone is: your advice for a couple who's planning an event, your advice to them. What would you tell them?
The advice that I have given to all of my brides and grooms is to keep in mind that there is no such thing as a perfect wedding. There's going to be some little glitch. There's going to be something that doesn't go exactly the way they had planned. And just to be aware of that and to roll with it when it does happen. Because at the end of the day, all that matters is that those two people are standing in front of their friends and family and professing their love for each other.
That's amazing. That is great advice. Couldn't ask for any better advice. That is spot on, Cynthia. All right, guys, you heard it from her. You heard from Cynthia. So definitely heed her advice. She's been around weddings. Her and I have both been around weddings a long time. So thanks, Cynthia, for everything. Thanks for popping in the Weddings Done Right Radio. Plugs. Do you have, I know your website, it's golfwildhorse.com.
That is correct. It's wildhorsegc.com.
Okay, perfect. And any social media handles you want to?
Hashtag WildhorseGC.
Okay, perfect. And you're on all the major, I know you're on Facebook. You're on all
Yes, we are. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Very cool. All right. Thanks, Cynthia. All righty. So, ladies and gentlemen, and once again, I want to thank you so much for watching this episode of Weddings Done Right Radio, the How To I Do Las Vegas. We were talking with Cynthia from Wildhorse. Reach out to Cynthia. She's very knowledgeable, very passionate about what she does and her property that she works at. I've been there. It's absolutely beautiful. It's one of my favorite locations to have a wedding or an event. If you want to be notified, we're going to be doing these Weddings Done Right Radio with the Las Vegas Wedding Chamber members. We're doing them once a week. So if you want to be notified of the next episode, just hit the subscribe button and you'll get a link and you'll be notified. So, and also make sure we're scrolling our website, weddingchamber.vegas, on there. So we would love to have you be there. So once again, I'm Jodi Harris, president of the Las Vegas Wedding Chamber of Commerce. You guys go out there, make it a great one, and we will see you next time. Thanks, everybody.